Welcome back, boys and some girls. After playing for about 20 hours in this game, the early access launch, I feel that I'm actually ready to give you a first impressions video, maybe like an impressions video. This is not my first impressions. And I will also follow this by explaining and going over a little bit of the roadmap, what we can expect in the future. First of all, let's actually start with the story. The story is not bad. It is quite interesting, but the problem is it's revealed extremely slowly because it's an early access project. So you get only like 2 lines every half a year. So it's extremely slow and we won't get to judge or know the entirety of the story for a very long time. So what the hell is the story even about? Very simply, the story is about you have a world that has in it an evil AI that took over the world, and then you have the human survivors, so to speak. They have an different name, like I think they're called like Aterians or something. And you, the player, found like an AI that isn't actually corrupted by this evil AI virus thingy. And together with it, you go around and you try to basically fight back. You do a bunch of missions that do a bunch of things, but you get many types of missions. You do go there, do this, but basically everything boiled down into 3 types of mission. Number 1, you press buttons while you also fight. So you get like a bar on the top of your screen that you run around and you press buttons while you fight enemies until the bar just fills up. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory. Number 2, you need to carry heavy objects. Usually it's going to be 3 objects, 3 batteries, 3 fuel rods, 3 whatever. You just carry them from one point to the other while you also fight enemies that get in your way. Pretty simple. And number 3, you actually protect an objective. You protect a ship, you protect something. You just stand there and you fight a few enemies until it's over and you can move on to the next part. Pretty simple. I know there is more mission types, but if you just take a second, breathe in, look at missions, everything is just the 3 missions. Everything is boiling down to these missions. It's fine, it's not fine, up to you. I think it's a little bit repetitive and boring, but we'll get to it. Personally, I prefer the on-foot gameplay when you run around gunning and, as I said previously, carrying heavy objects or pressing the buttons. For me, it's more fun. I enjoy less playing as the as the spaceship thingy where you run around the airship. Why do I keep saying airship? Spaceship. With your spaceship, you turn off the fire and you gotta put ammunition back in, you gotta heal your ship, all those things. It's not as enjoyable to me, maybe to you it will be, but there's one thing I noticed, and I think it's very important that they change it, is the fact that you start with a very big ship, like right from the tutorial. I think it should be the opposite. You get the smaller ship when you start, and you can expand later on. Reason number 1, it's because there's less thing in the ship, and it's much easier to understand what the hell is going on when you have less thing to interact with. Because if you go straight into the big ship, there's so many rooms and so many stairwells and levels. You don't really know what you're doing and everything is all over the place, especially with the prologue mission. You're playing on your own, you can't do this in a multiplayer. Then it's just nothing. There's like nothing to do with a bunch of people. It's just you and the bot. So there's no real point to have this giant of a ship. I know they probably want to do it because, hey, I worked a long time with this big ship. Checked out what we can do in this game. Cool, huh? I get it. But I think it really would be better if they switched it and they made it so the smaller ships first, the bigger ones later. For movement, we got a few punch things. We have double jumps. You don't jump like very high, but it's a nice double jump. You got your jetpack, which can only work in certain places. And you also have your hook thingy, whatever you call this, like the grappling hook. All of them together can be pretty fun. I don't like that they limited your jetpack use to specific places. So you can't use this indoors and you can't use this basically in specific places. They don't want you to go over the terrain. So you have to use your grappling points and you have to use things in order to go against the environment. It's basic things that if you actually had the jetpack inside, it would ruin like the way the environment is designed. I think that's what they think. In my opinion, it won't. I think all the gameplay currently, all the maps, I think would work perfectly fine if you just enable the jetpack inside also. It makes it so much fun, and also because you gotta do things fast, especially if you play alone, which I assume most people will. And going on the multiplayer talk, I gotta say this, multiplayer is way harder than solo play, but it's also way more fun. especially at the start, because when you start out, there's going to be more enemies and there's going to be stronger enemies if you play with more people. When you play with your bot on your own, it's not going to be the same thing. It's going to be extremely boring on the very like first and second sectors, and then as you move on, it's going to be samey, but it's going to be more enemies, so it's going to be a little bit more fun. But you gotta get to those later sectors to actually have fun as a solo player. But as a multiplayer with your friends, with a bunch of people, it's fun instantly. Now, the enemies are, as I said, evil AI robots. You fight basic robots, things that fly and shoot at you, things that run on the ground that shoot at you, heavy robots that shoot at you, just very basic things. There's also a bunch of enemies that can fly and use a shield. There's one that flies at you, aims at you, and then he can run and boom, like explode on you. There's like small spiders that spew fire. There's a bunch of them, but they all basically just aim and kill them. It's not like completely difficult. You don't have to do any different types of gameplay in order to defeat them. The only one you kinda has to is the shielded guy, because you gotta get his sides. You can also snipe him because he doesn't like fully cover himself, so you can snipe his sides. But he's like the only one that actually you gotta react differently to, or maybe the explodey guy, because you gotta defeat him before he touches you, but it doesn't do that much damage. In order to fight those robots, you actually get a bunch of weapons. You get them tiers and stuff, we'll get to it in a second. You get weapons like a sniper, an assault rifle, an LMG, all the basic weapons that you can expect from any single game. And you also get heavy weapons like a railgun and a rocket launcher, which I seriously haven't found any use for them yet, because everything that you can use for them, I better use my ship because it's faster and it's more reliable, and I don't have to be in harm's way in order to basically shoot the weapon. So why is the heavy weapons for? I don't know, maybe later on there's gonna be like extremely hard enemies you need like a ton of firepower to destroy. But the current one, even the heavy tank one, you can just kill it with like what, 4 or 5 like headshots, which is really not hard to do. You gotta aim at the glowy eye. And as promised, weapons also have grades with them. It starts with like Mark 0 and it goes all the way to Mark 3. It's the same for all the components in the ship. In a second we'll get to components, don't worry about it. But all of the weapons grades, I think they kind of do more damage, but the difference is not that crazy that it would make you notice, because since it works on ammo and everything, if you run out of ammo, they need to give you a way to actually fight an enemy. And then if you're on the highest difficulty, then what? You stuck, you can't do anything, you just accept defeat because you ran out of ammo? No. So the grades don't really change like a crazy amount. They do like more damage, yeah, but it's nothing that you're gonna be like, oh my god, that's night and day. You can do everything, every single mission with the basic gun. It works, there's just no problem to it. It's just a bit more quick and I think more fun. I love to use the sniper and the LMG. A bit more fun for me, but everything is doable even with the very basic Mark 0 weapons. Now your ship consists of a few things. You have components, you have basic things like engine, weapons, you have like your little radar, your special weapons, a bunch of things you see in the hangar. All of them can also be upgraded from Mark 0, I guess technically it's Mark 1, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% certain. From Mark 1 or 0 up to Mark 3. I think it's Mark 1. I'm not 100% certain. These upgrades actually give you the most benefit from anything you can upgrade in the game. They make your ship way easier to maneuver, way more damage dealing. It's just better to upgrade those. My recommendation is first of all basic weapons like your pilot weapons, then either your special weapon or your engine, whichever one you want. And then finally your power cell, which doesn't really matter too much. It just kind of protects you from radiation and things. Overall, I gotta say, the gameplay is extremely repetitive. You probably won't like it. I don't know, depends on, it's very personal to you. Personally for me, I kinda didn't mind it until like maybe 10, 15 hours in. And then it becomes like, okay, dude, stop. But then, because I'm a completionist, I had to do everything. I had to unlock all the sectors. I had to unlock all the rewards. But I think there's a problem with the gameplay. And as I'm kind of thinking about writing about this script, I'm realizing that that's kind of a problem with the game. The moment to moment is fun, but getting to those moments is the problem. It isn't fun. It's a freaking pain. I think this is where they should work on to make this more fun. And if you check the feedback and what people say, it's a war zone. People like say, hey, you should do this, and then somebody else, no, never do this. This is horrible. Because of you, we have this game looking like what it is. Like, people, just chill down. It's a game. Relax. I'm not 100% certain what they can do. I probably should think more about this before actually saying what I think is bad, because you gotta go, when you do something, hey, that's bad, you gotta give like what's gonna be good, like what you can improve. But I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time about this game. There's other games I'd rather play or think about. So that's it. Let's move to the next part. World building. So gotta say one thing. Everything looks pretty nice. Looks pretty good. I didn't analyze specific textures or anything on face value. Like what you see, everything looks pretty good. There's like, I didn't even notice like any heavy dips of FPS. Everything seems to be, I capped it, I think at like what, 120, 144. I don't remember what I capped it at, but I capped it and everything was pretty fine. I didn't get any freezes, I didn't get any crashes, I didn't get anything, just minor dips during very heavy combat scene. But beside that, nothing. Pretty good. However, there is one thing that I think is a problem with the game, and it's the procedural generation. I think that's what they call it. Is when you go to the same maps, you will see what I mean when you play like after a while. It's the same maps. There's no like it's the same maps everywhere. There's like, I need to like maybe what, 10 maps maybe in general, and every single one of them is going to have the same buildings in the same places, and the objective might switch a little bit, but most of the time it really won't. There's going to be like maybe one side content that's going to be like one piece of scrap that's going to be here instead of over there. I know, shocker, big change, but most of it's going to be in the exactly same place, so I don't really think it's fun. Because you're gonna be like in a map. There's a map. I might show it like as I'm saying this right now. There is a map. There's like 3 giant floating platforms, and there's like 2 big fuel rods on each side of the map. Cool, nice. The problem is you only interact with one thing. The one of the big 3 platforms, the only one you interact with, and the interaction is going to one place in this one platform, holding a button for 3 seconds, and then going back to your ship, blowing those 2 fuel cells. Coming back in, opening one chest in the same platform in the same place, and then moving on to the next map. That's it. There is no need to go anywhere else in the map. There might be like one map fragment or one scrap chest somewhere else in the map, but it's mostly going to be in the same place, and that's it. Maps are empty. It's huge maps with nothing inside of them. Empty. Even when you go up to the high levels, even when you do the highest difficulty missions, it's going to be the same thing, same boring shit. Let's do an honorable mention before we actually move on to the roadmap talk, is the cosmetic system. The cosmetic system used to be in the demo where you had to do like get credits from doing missions, and then you could purchase visual upgrades or suits with those credits. Now what you need to do is you gotta do missions. You gotta do favors for people, and then they unlock different equipments for you in the equipment vendor or equipment menu, whatever you want to call it. I personally don't like this. I mean, the positive thing is you can change your colors at any time you want, both for your player and for your ship. You can change it every time you want. You can only physically change the way you look, but not the ship look. So, I don't know, you do you, but for me, I like it less. Overall, nice game, but it's super repetitive, and I don't really see myself returning to the game anytime soon. Maybe if they add something extremely interesting, I might come back in, but I just don't see like what's the point. It's gonna be the same thing, and you'll see when I talk about the roadmap now what I mean by it's gonna be more of the same thing, and there's not gonna be like very big like changes to the gameplay loop. So if you don't like what you see now, you won't like ever what you see in the future, so just don't bother. So if you want, you can check the roadmap on their Steam page. Just scroll a little bit down and you find it. You can see what they currently have. I don't think they update it every day or something. I think they update it like every once in a while, because there's some things here that are already in the game. For example, the endless mode, you have 2 or 3 missions that are already endless, and you can technically just go there and do endless missions. Maybe just forgot to tick a box. So this is going to be into chapters. You can see chapter 4 right now is the latest that they want to say that it exists, but it's probably going to be more than 4 chapters depending on the story. Chapter 1 is what we have right freaking now, is the early access launch. That's everything I already covered, so there's not much point talking about this anymore because you already saw the previous half of the video. Chapter 2, which is going to be from now all the way to March 2026. So these updates not necessarily are going to come in order, so that doesn't mean that endless mode is now and then next month is going to be new guns. No. It could be photo mode and then new gun and then mission type. There's just no order to this. They decide kind of what they want to do. I assume depending on what is more finished, which makes sense. So let's go over them. Endless mode we already have. Tax chat we already have. A new gun could be interesting, but again, the gameplay loop kind of staying the same. If they bring in a gun that completely changes the way you play, nice. Hangar vendors, pretty nice. You could prepare before you go on your trip. It's something you could do with your credits, because currently I have like maybe 20 or 30k credits and you have nothing to do with them, so that's cool to have them, I guess. Melee weapon I think is a very big no-no. I'm never gonna touch melee weapons, because if you get close to the robot, especially harder in the harder levels, you're gonna get deleted. So I'm not gonna touch melee weapons. I think it's completely useless in my opinion, but whoever wants them, go ahead. Offline support would be nice, especially if you could pause the game. I saw a bunch of people asking in the discussions when they want like to have a pause when you're playing with yourself online. Yeah, I guess it doesn't make any sense, but if you play alone, why not pause? Sometimes you gotta go pee, you gotta go shit, you gotta do stuff. Life. Shield revamp. I don't really know what they mean. There's a couple of ideas here that could be interesting. What do they mean by this? Are they going to bring the ship shield inside, which is going to be finally, I would love it so much if it's actually inside and then you could repair it, or is it going to be something that repairs on its own? Like, what are we talking about? Because the shield on yourself is self-repairing, so why on the ship it's not? There's just a bunch of questions here. Next, moving on to sector modifiers. It's probably going to be like, I think at least, if you make it harder, then you get more bonuses, right? But it's not really worth it, because it's obviously depend on how big the bonus is. But from right now, to do harder missions, it's not really worth it. Just do easier missions like 5 times. It's going to take you about the same time it will take you to do the harder mission, but you're going to get about the same rewards, maybe like a tiny bit less, but there's zero risk of you dying and losing everything, right? So besides getting the components which you have to do those hard missions, why would I do that? Just don't add more sectors. I don't see like the point of it. And that's going right to the next thing, which is more sectors. Don't see the point of it. Like, why? What are you going to add it? It's going to be the same missions. There's not going to be even new types of missions. So it's going to be the same defend, the same touch buttons while you fight, and the same carry objects. Carry heavy objects, sorry. It's not going to be interesting. Just don't do it. Do it maybe last. Like, put it like way down at the least. We get a story expansion, which is nice, why not? And a new ship. New ship, again, could be interesting, same as the new weapon. Is it going to be same of the same? Or is it more of the same? Or it's going to be, you know, completely different, changing the way you think? Hopefully it is, we can only hope. Bodybot improvements. I don't really know what they mean here. There's no explanation on anything in here, by the way. The only information I got besides like reading the lines is from Discord or from discussions on Steam where the developers respond sometimes. That's usually where I get my information, because if you click on any of these little squares, you get nothing more. So Bodybot improvements, I don't really know what they're talking about. It could be things like more options of things he can do, or you could like mark things for him to do. Maybe options of things you allow him to do or not to do. Like, you don't get to heal the ship, you only get to like put the ammo in. There's a bunch of things, I don't know. Player trait system could be interesting if it's not going to be the same like the relics. If it's going to be like a roguelike thingy, sure, I guess there is a crowd for it, why not? I personally wouldn't like it. I think, especially with them letting you keep the guns and letting you keep the upgrades for the ship and everything, I think it should be more permanent thing, that you have a character that is actually getting stronger and stronger as you play. That's kind of the thing people like. People enjoy like keeping what they earn. Like, you work for something and then you earn it. I think that's what most people like, right? Slide movement, why not? More movement is great. New enemies could be interesting. Again, same thing with everything I said so far with the weapons and sector. Is it going to be more of the same, or is it going to be something new? This is the key here. Photo mode, gonna make a nice thumbnail with it. And mission types, same thing with enemies, same thing with ships, same thing with sectors, and same thing with weapons. Is it going to be more of the same? Who knows? Chapter 3 is going to be from Q1, which is going to be March 2026, up until who knows when. More guns, more sectors. I'm not gonna say it again, you know what I think about more things, depends. First person pilot view could be interesting but disorienting. I think it would be very cool if they implement this correctly. Scanner revamp, no clue what they mean by that. I think the scanner works pretty fine. I think it should be like a basic feature. I don't think it should be like an added part that you can change, like a component you can change on your ship. Story expanded, more story is gonna be more good, why not? Mission type, not gonna say anything, you know what I think about this. Voice chat could be pretty cool, especially if you get like matchmaking, which I don't think I've seen matchmaking anywhere nearby. I've seen only lobby browsing. I haven't seen any mentions of matchmaking. So voice chat's gonna be just with your friends that you already talk about in Discord, or maybe like randoms. Who really joins like a random person's lobby? I don't think people really do that, do they? If you do, please let me know. New ship. Again, same thing with all the new stuff. Is it going to be different? Weapon variant is probably going to be like the same weapon you have. You could have it do like what, I guess, fire damage or something. It's going to be like electrical stuff. Because what can they do? It's against robots, and the variants couldn't really change that much, right? You got to give it like an elemental effect or some kind of other effect, like higher fire rate, less damage. And then you have the same weapon, just does more damage, but less fire rate because it's a more snipey version. There's a bunch of things you can do, but who knows what they're actually going to implement. It's going to be like a way long time from now, so don't even bother about this. New enemies, you know what I think. And ground bosses. We are going with ground bosses back to when I talked about sectors and hard difficulty and modifiers. Why? Why do I need to defeat the boss? What do I get from it? What's the point of it? Is it just like to say, like tick a V? I did it, then most people won't even try to touch it. If there's nothing to gain from it that I can gain from doing the same, like the very basic level, like twice, why would I do the boss? It better drop like something cool, something good, like weapons you can keep or an upgrade for your ship, something essential that's going to be very cool, very good. And we're not even talking about, is the mechanics of the boss going to be actually interesting, is it going to be cool, or is it going to be the same thing as every enemy, which is just hide in a corner and shoot them in the glow spot until it's done. And then we move on to chapter 4, which is basically to space and beyond. Who knows when it's gonna come out, when it's gonna start, when it's gonna anything. These early access projects sometimes can be like years in the making, and sometimes they can be months in the making. It really depends on the developers, the state of the game, and a whole bunch of things. So if you want to know more, you can just jump in here and see what they say about this. Go in their Discord, just, you know, a bunch of things. Hopefully we'll get more interesting things and more interesting features to actually lure me back into the game, because right now I don't really see myself covering or playing the game anytime more. Maybe like check a few updates if anything interesting is going to come out. That's pretty much it for me. The fun is kind of ruined by, I think, going off ship, on ship, off ship, on ship, off ship, on ship. The styles themselves are fine. Obviously I have my biases and what I like more, but I think the combination is kind of what ruining them. Try to figure out what you can do in the moments in between, and I think it will solve a whole bunch of problems. That's at least my opinion. But that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know why, so I can improve. Besides, keep it safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.